When the Galar region was first introduced, many people were hoping that we'd be able to fight gym leaders in any order that we wish, and that the games would be level scaled accordingly, so that we were never too overleveled or underleveled for any gym leader. Well, obviously, that wasn't the case, and it's a feature that we still have to hope that Game Freak will incorporate in future generations. However, while level scaling might not exist, in previous main series Pokemon games, it was in fact possible to skip a few gym leaders and battle them out of order. In a way, letting you decide your own way of when to face these gym leaders. From Generation 5 onwards, this was no longer the case, as it was from this point where the story in the Pokemon games kinda took precedent and led you from gym to gym, not allowing you to skip a single one in the process. Otherwise, it would break the story that the games had for you, even if it was just a simple remark of your rival gaping at how many gym badges you had. Prior to Generation 5, it wasn't the story that forced you to enter a certain gym, it was the reward or accessibility that the gym badge gave you, or in other words, the abilities to use HMs. Without certain gym badges, you couldn't use HMs that were vital to progress through the game's region, such as Strength, Surf, or Cut. But an HM like Flash or Fly, for example, is an optional HM, and one that isn't necessary to complete the games. In a situation like this, where a certain gym badge allows you to use an optional HM, you most likely won't need to get the gym badge right away, assuming that there's nothing else blocking you from moving forward with your adventure. Of course, before you reach the Pokemon League in any game, you will in fact need to have all 8 gym badges, as that is the requirement to enter the league. But like I said, this isn't about skipping them entirely. It's about fighting them in a different order than what the developers had intended. And finally, before we go over which gym leaders you can skip, I just wanted to mention that I will not be counting glitches on this list. For example, there's an in-game glitch in Red, Blue, and Yellow that can cause you to skip Brock entirely without even battling him once. We won't be counting that on this list, as that's not a legitimate way to move through the games, as you're taking advantage of various different bugs and errors. Cool? Cool. Here are all the skippable gym leaders in the main series Pokemon games that you can legitimately go up against in another order than what was intended. When it comes to the Kanto games, every iteration of them has a way to skip a certain set of gym leaders, and this is a quite large set, as you can fight Lieutenant Surge, Erica, Koga, Sabrina, and Blaine in almost any order. Yes, in Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, Fire Red, and Leaf Green, gym leaders 3 to 7 are not required to fight in their set order. Brock and Misty are required to progress through the game, regardless of what, and Giovanni will only show up once you have all the other 7 gym badges, so those 3 will always remain in their order. But once you have access to use Cut through Misty's gym badge, a lot of the world opens up to you, and Cut alone allows you to traverse through the region without many of the other HMs for a while. Lieutenant Surge's gym badge gives you access to Fly, which is very much optional. Erica's badge gives you access to Strength, which you do need to continue through the game, but you don't need it until Victory Road in the main story. You may need it for some other dungeons like Seafoam Cave, but again, those are optional. Sabrina and Blaine's gym badges don't actually give you access to any HMs, but Koga's gym badge gives you access to Surf. So, in order to reach Cinnabar Island and Blaine, you do in fact need to beat Koga first, but as long as Koga comes before Blaine, you can fight any one of these gym leaders in any order. So for example, you can fight these in the order of Koga, Blaine, Erica, Sabrina, and then Surge. Or you can go Sabrina, Koga, Blaine, Surge, then Erica. Though, you are crazy if you decide to take on Sabrina first. In the Let's Go games, this is taken further as we don't have HMs anymore. Instead, we have secret techniques, which are just given to us, meaning that you can even reach Blaine without having to fight Koga. The Johto games probably have the most infamous known gym leaders that you can skip. Falkner, Bugsy, Whitney, and Morty have to be challenged in that order, but once you defeat Morty, you gain access to the HM Surf, meaning that once you make your way to Olivine City, you can just go straight down to Cianwood City. Or even before all of that, if you wish, you can go right from Ecruteak City and head on over to Mahogany Town. And the 5th, 6th, and 7th badges only give you access to the HMs of Fly and Whirlpool, one of which is an optional HM, and the other is only necessary for Claire, which means that Chuck, Jasmine, and Price can be challenged in any order. I've seen many people, including one of my closest friends, challenge Price before the other two, simply because they never knew that Price was the 7th gym leader. You might think that you need to beat Chuck in order to face Jasmine, but no, that's not true. You just need to get the secret potion from Cianwood and take it back to the Olivine Lighthouse, and Jasmine will then be in her gym to battle. Not only can these gyms be handled in any order, but I'd go as far as saying that there really isn't any order for any of these gyms, and there are a few reasons for this. As we went over earlier, after Ecruteak City, you have 3 different locations that open up to you, making it seem as if you have multiple paths to choose from. Not only that, but all of the levels in these games are around the same, which is part of the reason why the NPCs in these games feel so underleveled compared to previous games. But in Kanto, if you took on Sabrina before Surge, you'd know something is wrong because of the massive difference in levels. But here, you won't notice because all 3 of them are very similar in terms of levels. Now of course, to reach Claire, you must have defeated all of the previous Johto gym leaders before facing her. But hey, you can have a little bit of fun switching things up before you get to her. And yes, before I forget to mention, this applies to Gold, Silver, Crystal, as well as Heart Gold and Soul Silver. And no, I'm not counting the Kanto gym leaders in these games, since you can pretty much do most of them in any order that you wish, even redoing the original order that they appear in. So pretty much every gym leader besides Blue here is technically skippable. Something that's only possible in the 3rd generation of the Hoenn games, however, is that you can actually skip Brawly and Winona in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. This is again because they're the ones who give you the optional HMs, Flash and Fly respectively. The thing with Brawly, however, is that you must beat him before you challenge Norman, as Norman will make sure that you have 4 badges before fighting him. And since Brawly is supposed to be the 2nd gym leader, you must fight him first. Winona being the 6th gym leader on the other hand, means that you can actually save her for the very end, and even finish all the Team Aqua and Team Magma stuff, and just challenge her right before the Pokemon League. In Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, however, they put obstacles in the way to ensure that both of these things don't happen, and that certain areas wouldn't be accessible until you finish battling these gym leaders, meaning that they made their intentions very clear, and really wanted you to face these guys in a designated order in the remakes. And finally, while it is a very minor one, in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, you can switch the order of Maylene and Crasher Wake. You have to do them back to back, there's no avoiding that, but the game's story will allow you to face either one of them first. Maylene is traditionally the 3rd gym leader, and Wake is the 4th in these games. But since the story will only continue once you have both these badges, and there isn't anything in between to force you to do either gym first, you have your own choice of who to take on. And honestly, besides some extra walking, it doesn't really matter, since both gym leaders give you access to optional HMs, Maylene's being Fly and Wake's being Defog, and both of them have a team of 3 Pokemon at the same exact levels, so you can just face whoever you're more comfortable with. This isn't the case in Platinum, however, as the gym leader order has been swapped around, with Fantina being the 3rd gym leader and forcing you to take on Maylene as the 4th gym leader and Wake as the 5th. But hey, it's still pretty cool regardless. And there we have it, guys. Those are all of the skippable gym leaders in the main series Pokemon games. Like I said earlier, from the 5th generation onwards, this wasn't really a thing anymore, besides the Let's Go titles. But I'm hoping that sometime in the future, Game Freak will provide us with multiple path options and level scaling so that we can fight the gym leaders in whichever order that we wish to, and just give us more freedom with the games. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you want more cool content on Pokemon gym leaders, then maybe you can check out my videos of where I swap out their signature Pokemon around for a more fitting ace from any generation in the series. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to hit or punch the like button. If you didn't, hit that dislike button. Let me know how you feel. Comment down below your thoughts and opinions. Let me know if you knew of these skippable gym leaders and which gym leaders you skipped before. Share the video around, and finally, subscribe and hit the little bell icon if you want to stay up to date with all my content. Take care of yourselves, have a wonderful day, and I will see you over on the next video, alright?